The total solar eclipse, a rare celestial event where the moon swallows the sun and day turns to night, a terrifying omen that ancient people believed meant the end of the world, from celestial dragons and wolves devouring the sun to angry gods bringing darkness upon the earth. Humans have been struck with fear at the sight of the sun suddenly vanishing. Even today, eclipses show up in movies and games as symbols of impending doom. And sure, total solar eclipses have been happening for thousands of years and nothing's happened. But would the 2024 total eclipse be different? Could it usher in 10 years of darkness or fulfill some kind of Lovecraftian prophecy? There was only one way to find out. That's why I drove 7 hours across Pennsylvania to be in the path of totality and discover the truth. But first, let's go back to the beginning. I woke up at 2 a.m. and stopped for some coffee before I started my drive. As I made my way to the car I rented, it started to sink in what a long day I had ahead of me. I'd be driving more than 14 hours in one day, and only on a couple hours of sleep. Still, once I finally arrived in my car, I had a quick look around, prepared the car, and started my drive to find out the truth about the total eclipse. Unfortunately, everything didn't go so smoothly. About halfway into the drive, I couldn't keep going. My eyes wouldn't stay open, and I had to pull over. I felt completely in over my head and decided to quit. But after taking a moment to collect myself, I remembered why I was really doing this trip in the first place. In 2017, there was another total solar eclipse that passed over the United States. At the time, I didn't live near the path of totality, so I only saw the partial eclipse. But that didn't stop me from celebrating it with my family. I never forgot the eclipse-themed cupcakes that we made together, and I always dreamed of one day seeing the full thing. I owed it to my past self to finish this trip. I had made it this far, and I wasn't about to give up on one of my childhood dreams so easily. So, after resting a little longer, I started driving towards Lake Erie again with a renewed energy. I made one more stop along the way to get gas and to stretch my legs, and I had begun to appreciate the beauty of rural Pennsylvania. And lucky for me, I would have a lot more time to appreciate that beauty in the final stretch of the drive.
An estimated 250,000 people are expected to travel to Pennsylvania to experience the path of totality.
Thousands in the bi-state headed south before the eclipse, and it was bumper to bumper. Trips that normally take an hour doubled in time.
The eclipse has created traffic tie-ups. Traffic is expected to remain much heavier than normal for hours.
You heard that right. With more than 200 million people being within driving distance of the path of totality, traffic into Erie had stacked up for miles. And as the time of the eclipse got closer and closer, I was worried that I might not make it in time. But nevertheless, I persevered, and eventually, I made it to my destination. But before the eclipse began, I had one more thing to do. Back when I almost ended the trip, the memories of my family and I eating eclipse cupcakes together inspired me to order the next best thing. I may not have been able to enjoy more cupcakes with my family, but the Krispy Kreme eclipse donuts made me feel a little more at home. And as the eclipse got closer and closer, the air started to get colder and the sky was darkening. The birds started to sense the incoming darkness and were becoming restless. I could hear waves crashing dramatically against the coast, and beautiful colors danced around the horizon. And then suddenly, the sun became a black void in the sky. As I took off my glasses, I was inside totality, and it was unlike anything I'd ever seen before. Then, just as soon as it came, totality was over. The moon slowly moved to uncover the sun, day returned, and the sunset colors over the coast faded away. It was at this moment that a feeling that had been gnawing away at me the whole trip finally overwhelmed me. With the high of totality over, I realized that I had no one to share the moment with. I could hear fireworks and cheers echoing around me, but I felt alone amidst the lingering shadows of the eclipse. This trip was originally meant to be done with a couple of my friends, but at the last minute, life got in the way and they couldn't make it. I decided to continue with the trip anyway to prove to myself that I could enjoy the experience on my own, but while I certainly didn't regret the trip, I missed having loved ones to share it with. In spite of that feeling, as I started to drive back, I began to feel a sense of hope. There would be other eclipses, other moments of breathtaking beauty, and next time, I would make sure to share them with the people who mattered most to me. So, with the promise of new memories yet to be made, I ended the trip with a smile. And at the end of the day, the world may not have ended, but I guess you can say it was pretty eerie.